This is WFYI News Now. It's Friday, December 19th, and I'm Sarah Neal-Estes. Here are today's stories. Decatur Township on the southwest side of Marion County is now the location of another fight over a data center in Indiana, where developers have tried to appease residents to no avail. Saby is a Seattle-based data center developer seeking to develop a 130-acre plot. But since the land is already zoned industrial, they only have to file what are called variances. Those would allow Saby to make the land work for the type of building they need to build. This is different than the political process for rezoning, where the City-County Council could ultimately vote on the request. Pat Andrews is the chair of the Decatur Township Land Use Committee and says this variance process for her is troubling.
If they can't stand up to a vigorous public process, maybe they need to rethink it.
According to the Civic Council, the petition will be heard by the Metropolitan Development Commission's hearing examiner on January 29th. 6 former men's basketball players at IU Indianapolis are suing the university, alleging physical and emotional abuse by fired coach Paul Corsaro. Ethan Sandweiss reports.
The students allege Corsaro punched, choked, and shoved them, as well as threatened their scholarships. All 6 eventually left the team. The university fired Corsaro in May after an internal investigation. He coached the Jaguars for a little more than a year. Corsaro denies the accusations. In a social media post in May, he accused IU of unfairly damaging his reputation. Corsaro submitted a tort claim against IU Indy in October for wrongful termination and says its internal review did not back up most of the accusations. He hasn't yet filed a lawsuit. From Ethan Sandweiss.
Candidates for the 2026 Indiana Secretary of State race are already pooling campaign donations, and Democratic candidate Bo Bai has gathered dozens of large ones. Zach Castle reports.
Bai is an attorney and the son of former Indiana Governor Evan Bai. He has already raised at least $1.16 million in large donations. About 60% of the funds are from donors with out-of-state addresses, while about 40% are from Indiana donors. These include Maryland-based billionaire Robert Johnson, Chicago-based attorney Dan Webb, members of the Indiana-based Simon family, and former Indianapolis Mayor Bart Peterson. Incumbent Diego Morales, a Republican, has reported at least $911,000 this year, and Blythe Potter, a Democratic challenger, has raised at least $20,000. The annual filing, due in January, will give a clearer picture of the candidates' finances. I'm Zach Castle in Indianapolis.
An Indiana group wants the state to consider a closer look at preemption laws. Those laws often stop local governments from instituting city and county-level policies. Ben Thorpe reports.
The Indiana Coalition for Human Services released a report arguing that preemption laws were having a cumulative impact on health equity across Indiana. The coalition pointed to laws, sometimes known as no more stringent than laws, that limit how local governments can regulate wages, housing, and the environment. Andrew Bradley is the president of the coalition. He says restricting local action across a wide range of issues can have a negative impact.
Indiana has not been really taking a systemic look at what are the overall health outcomes of each individual preemption choice.
Bradley says there are a number of bills that utilize preemption already proposed for the upcoming session. I'm Ben Thorpe.
Indiana is one of only 5 states to fully launch its home energy rebate program. That program helps people save money on things like electric stoves and water heaters with funding from the Federal Inflation Reduction Act. But Rebecca Thiel reports the launch is off to a slow start.
John Ford with the Indiana Office of Energy Development says for doing hardly any marketing, the agency is happy with the enrollment numbers and feels it's on track to award all the money within 3 years.
And, we are, I don't want to say building it as we're driving it, but, we are constantly looking at ways to improve this program.
Energy efficiency experts say getting rebate programs off the ground can be a challenge. Residents often have concerns about the upfront costs and may feel burdened by the paperwork. Contractors may not know enough about the technology, like heat pumps, to recommend them. With more awareness, experts say enrollment numbers will likely ramp up over time. I'm Rebecca Thiel.
Northwest Indiana leaders are welcoming the Chicago Bears announcement that it's willing to look at the region for a new stadium site. Indiana State Representative Earl Harris Jr. says it would be good economic development for the area.
It'll mean a lot in terms of labor and union jobs, in terms of building the stadium and everything that goes along with that, plus a lot of permanent jobs, which really gives an opportunity for young people and to think about and have an opportunity to stay in Northwest Indiana and not look outside.
Should discussions move forward, Harris says he's fine with the team remaining the Chicago Bears, similar to New York's football teams that play in New Jersey.
It would be crazy and not a good decision to think about changing the name at all.
The Bears consider the move after public funding stalled for a new stadium in Illinois. That's all for today's episode of WFYI News Now. Our podcast is produced by Zach Bundy with support from the news team at WFYI and public media journalists across the state. Kendall Intron produced our music. And if you liked today's episode, remember to subscribe and share. And follow WFYI on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube to get the latest updates from our newsroom anytime. Thanks for listening. We'll see you Monday.